Welcome to the Geek Easy for Geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today, I am going to do a review of the new Dracula movie. Dracula 2025, 2026. The one that just came out in the theaters, I think today. The one with Christoph Waltz in it, where he plays a priest. I purposely avoided any reviews of it. I saw the previews. And I said, okay, I don't know if this is going to be any good or not, but let me go see. I had to work today. Got off at 5:30 my time. They had a showing at 6:40. I was like, okay, do I go see it tonight after work? Or do I see it Monday? Because I wasn't going to go tomorrow because tomorrow's the game. And I was probably going to be too expended after the game to go watch the movie. And I have Monday off. So I went. I wish I would have waited until the day after never to see this. I had to come home and get on my rowing machine and burn off. Just spend about like 10 minutes rowing and stuff to burn off all the energy, this anger or whatever it was that just built up inside of me on this thing. Okay, so I tried to form a couple of coherent thoughts on how to describe this movie. Alright, so first thing you need to do is if you have seen Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, you'll know where they got the inspiration for this movie. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of spoilers in here, not much. All right. So if you read the book, you know they added a certain elements of the movie into the movie that had nothing to do with the book. They made the connection between Vlad Tepes and Dracula. That whole beginning scene, there was never any connection between, other than the name, Dracula, the son of the dragon. That's where he was when he originally was writing. Bram Stoker was writing the book. It was Count Vampire, and then he was doing some research on Romania and all that. Came up with Vlad Tepes, Dracula, and then I guess he used gave him a sort of a description of him and used the name for that. So they. In the movie, they added that part in there, and then they did a lot of the whole love story with Mina being the reincarnation of Elisabetta, and that's his motivation for going to London. So they took. For this movie, they took that aspect from, or it seems to me anyway, that they took that aspect from Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, expanded on that, and then dropped just about everything else from the book, other than the name Dracula. There's character by the name of Mina Murray, and I think one of the characters was named Jonathan. I don't even know if he was. And there was the lawyer going to the castle briefly, and then Dracula. He's got, but this wasn't even. He didn't even go to London. He went to Paris in this one. Okay, so this movie they have at the beginning they have right up as he's showing him as this kind of spoiled prince who's just the first couple of minutes of the movie all he's doing is hanging out with his wife, being this little spoiled brat, and then basically just banging his old lady, his wife, and then gets called off to battle to fight in the Crusades. And he tells, I guess it's supposed to be the Pope or someone, that says, hey, I'm gonna fight, I'm loyal to God. I just ask one favor, have him save my wife. And of course, she dies, and so that's like I'm going to I'm not gonna go back to God until he brings her back. So basically, it's just stolen from the beginning of Dracula, the other Francis Ford Coppola movie, and then it just kind of goes off the tracks because you've got Christoph Waltz playing a priest who has been trying to find the origin of vampires for the past 400 years. And he's in Paris, and he goes to this insane asylum where there's a woman who's been caught, and it's like, oh wow, she's the first vampire that they've caught alive, and yada yada yada, and do this, and then you see this guy going to the castle to visit Dracula, and it oddly enough, he is. If you saw Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, you have Gary Oldman doing that incredible performance as Dracula, as the old man. You have him, the guy playing Dracula in here doing a pale impersonation of him. He's got the hair almost exactly the same way that they did it in the movie. Wrinkled and old, and but there was a couple of cool aspects in there. He had him, visibly using his powers in there, and he had a couple of gargoyles as assistants, and that was a very kind of good plus. A good part of the movie is that there's these little small gargoyles throughout the house that were his assistants and were used almost in comedic effect, but they look really awesome. And then he finds the locket with the girl, and this is he didn't want to die until he found that his wife had been brought back to him or reincarnated. So most of this movie is about his search for trying to find the reincarnated Elisabetta. So he's going out and, going to different areas of the world, like India and all that stuff, to make perfume to draw women to him because he wants to bring the women to him because one, he's assuming that that his reincarnated wife will, one, be a woman, and two, be royalty. That's if I don't know much about the theory behind reincarnation, but it doesn't necessarily follow that that's not the way that it works, from what I understand. But and then he changes some people to go out and start looking around, but then he, oddly enough, the central character's wife or fiance is the person who happens to be the reincarnation of his ex-wife. And I don't want to get too much into the ending of this, but that's where it really sort of fell apart. It's just, there's, how much do I want to say on this one? They freely acknowledge that if you kill the vampire, sort of like, in The Lost Boys, if you kill the main vampire, all the rest of the ones return to normal. And, so they want to get him, they have to go back to Romania. They get to the castle, and they're wanting to kill him and get the Mina character back. So you're sort of wanting to keep her uninjured, and yet they bring a whole battalion of British troops and start fucking shooting cannons at the castle. Indiscriminately at the castle. It's like, and then sending troops in to, it's like, do you not realize that could kill the woman if you? And it was just horribly, it just doesn't seem to be well thought out, or they just didn't seem to think it through, or just thought that we wouldn't think of these things or realize this. And what is with using like perfume to control people? Vampires have hypnotic powers. That was Dracula had hypnotic powers. He was able to mind control people and do stuff. Just, if you're gonna send people out, just turn them into vampires, control them, and then send them out. You don't need to use perfume to do it. That made absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever. I mean, that sounds like something out of a bad superhero movie where the evil villain says, "Oh, I've got this perfume that'll allow me to, mind control people and go out and do my bidding to search for, whatever." And the only good thing about this movie was how good it looked. That's another thing. They obviously put some effort and money into making it look good. There's some beautifully shot scenes. They got some people who did some great costumes. They did some great aesthetics throughout the whole shooting, everything. And Christoph Waltz is a great actor, but he seemed to be playing the same type of character. I don't want to say that the guy who played, his famous character in Inglourious Basterds was affable, but you know what I'm talking about. The same, he's a priest, and he's this one he's the same type of semi likable thing. But that was it. Everything else is just what the actual fuck. And so I can't recommend this movie at all. I'm gonna give it a 1 because of how good it looked and some of the special effects. But other than that, just don't waste your time. If you want to watch it, wait until it comes out on Amazon, because I think it was Amazon, the MGM, that put it out, and so it's going to be coming out on Amazon at some point. And I'm really kind of disappointed because I love Christoph Waltz. I love his acting. And this is Luke Benson who did the Transporter movies, who did. I think he also did that The Assassin or something like that, or whatever it was, with a very young Natalie Portman. Oh, The Professional. Yeah, that's what it was. And so he does some really good movies, but this was just. I saw it, was like, no, I had to just turn up some really loud heavy metal on the way home and drove it. Got home at about half the time that I should have, and then work off some of the anger and stuff. But yeah, before I did this, just don't bother. It was horrible. But anyway, so let me know if you saw it. Let me know what you thought of it if you did, and like, subscribe, possibly share, and most of all, try and enjoy your good horror movies, because this wasn't one of them.